you were going to make a list of downtrodden programs in Power 5 football, I think you'd go to Kansas first. Purdue would be on the list very shortly after that. Virginia would show up at some point not too long after you commenced that project. Virginia with a once proud program there in the ACC, looking for Bronco Mendenhall to reestablish things, and he definitely spoke to that today at ACC Media Days. We bring in Matt Trogdon from Streaking the Lawn. It's the SB Nation platform for UVA athletics. Matt, I appreciate you coming on board here.
Thanks a lot, Mark. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so Bronco Mendenhall, obviously not used to losing. 11 successful seasons at BYU, took a 2-10 team to the field last year. That was basically expected, and it was what we've seen out of Virginia in recent years. A lot of mistakes, a lot of games in which they almost pulled off upsets, a la the Louisville game at home. Your thoughts about what you took in from the second-year head coach today?
Man, what I heard was a lot what I expected. I mean, Bronco's been very candid about this process since he started. I think he was surprised at just how steep of a hill he has to climb to get this program back to where he wants it to be. But you know, he's been pretty optimistic throughout the offseason. Everything we've been hearing has been positive. You know, the players are working hard, the team's working hard. I'm sure that's the same thing you hear at every program across the country. Anything I heard from him today.
You know, I mentioned a couple other programs that have been knocked down to the lower portions of their respective leagues, but the situation at Virginia, because of the high school football that's played there, I would think would be a lot more hopeful than a few of the Power Fives that are surrounded by heavyweights but have a wasteland of high school football talent. There's a recruiting base there that just needs to be tapped there for Virginia.
Yeah, there are some interesting challenges, and you know, since I've been a Virginia fan, Virginia follower, I've seen 4 head coaches, and they've each approached it a little bit differently. Bronco's got a tough task. I mean, he only has one guy on the staff, Marcus Hagans, who is an East Coast guy. All of his other assistants, you know, mostly have west of the Mississippi experience, and so I think it took them. They admitted it took them a year or so to get the lay of the land recruiting wise. You know, the other challenge with Virginia is always going to be academics. The requirements at UVA are stricter than they are at certain places, and so that limits the possible talent pool. What I've seen from Bronco so far is be targeting schools that make sense if you think about the profile of the just average UVA student. So the success that they've had, which has been limited in the Mid-Atlantic so far, has been at some of your private schools, some of your Catholic schools, places like that. And so that's interesting. You know, Mike London, the previous coach, had a lot of success recruiting high schools all over the state of Virginia. Broncos staff hasn't had that success yet. It's hard, of course, when you're selling 8 losing seasons in 9 years, and it's hard when you know your primary rival, Virginia Tech, has had much more success, you know, over the last decades, and with Carolina on the rise and Duke on the rise, Penn State resurging, Maryland kind of coming back. It's going to be hard for them to find the talent, even though the talent is there.
I think there's one thing in play here is that Bronco is used to recruiting challenges. It was a much different situation at BYU, but he did have to overcome a number of recruiting issues because of the type of school that he was recruiting to and the lack of a conference tie-in. Kurt Benkert is your quarterback, one of the few returning quarterbacks in the ACC. Had a pretty nice stat line with 21 touchdowns, 11 picks, and 56% completion percentage. Really had a light-up game against the Duke in the one ACC win. Some struggles down the stretch and throwing multiple picks a few different times in the Virginia Tech game was a bit ugly. But your thoughts about Benkert, and then who would hit the field if something would happen to him?
Yeah, so Benkert is the story this year for Virginia. I mean, it all starts with him. If he stays healthy, then the team has a chance to take a couple steps forward. Maybe win 4 or 5 games, maybe have a peak at a 6. We'll see. If he gets hurt, it could be another ugly year. in the Connecticut game last season, and most fans didn't realize that. And he really, after he had a great game against Central Michigan, a great game against Duke. After that, though, he really kind of fell off. He had 11 interceptions, as you mentioned. I think 5 or 6 of those came in the fourth quarter of games that Virginia was winning. Virginia had 5 games last year where they had fourth quarter leads. They lost the heartbreaker to Louisville. They lost the heartbreaker to Connecticut. And then Kurt threw 2 picks back to back against Wake Forest, where they really kind of let that one slip out. So he is, in my opinion, the most physically talented quarterback that Virginia's had since Marcus Hagan in 2005, just head and shoulders above the other guys that have come through. And you could see, I mean, he has plus arm strength that really came out in a lot of the games. Central Michigan, I mean, he was just throwing darts and bombs all over the field. It was amazing. With him, it's a matter of consistency. With him, it's also a matter of improving his pocket presence. So he is, he's the #1 story. He's the one we'll all be watching.